modern cartoons have made an impact on today's society in many ways. For example, Popeye, the Sailor Man, he's basically the father, I would say, of all spinach being popular in today's society. Because if you think about it, he is probably the most famous person who ate spinach. And in like the 1930s, it went up by like a third, like 33%. And have you seen how strong he is? Even without his spinach. That's a whole different story for a different day, though. I don't know what it is about his spinach, though. Since it grants him magical powers, it for example, like he could punch lightning out of the sky, from what I hear, pull canyons together, and basically all the old cartoon physics stuff. Another popular cartoon back in the day, and probably today as well if you ask the right people, Tom and Jerry. Now, how is it? Back in those days, there was something called rubber hose animation, which means anything that they do is similar to rubber. Now, if you're an anime watcher like myself, you would know someone else that's also famous for rubber stuff, Monkey D. Luffy from One Piece. Why is this important? His Gear 5 from the latest episodes have been inspired all by Tom and Jerry, as said by Oda himself. It's honestly kind of crazy how a cat chasing a mouse got popular as it is. That's just me, if you're asking. I don't know about anyone else. Yeah, I don't know what it is about old cartoons that made it so good. Like Popeye and Tom and Jerry are like, they stick out to me the most because I grew up watching them. And if you grew up watching them, they have a soft spot in your heart, just like myself. Back on track with Popeye, I would say. It's possible that he inspired many to go into the military since he's a sailor man, but I'm not entirely sure though. But the spinach fact, what I said earlier, is indeed true. Where can I get a hand of this spinach? Where can I get a can of this? Now, if you're asking me, in terms of modern cartoons, Spongebob had the most impact when it comes to like internet memes and stuff. Because if you see, like, you can recall any old SpongeBob quote: "Pinky out, I don't need it," and another famous one: "Firmly grasp it." And as you get older, you get to understand more of the jokes SpongeBob said, or they said. For example, I was watching one the other day, and Mrs. Puff said she needed to call her insurance agent, which I missed as a kid. Now Looney Tunes, as we all know, fun fact, it's not TOONS, it's TUNES for weird reason. They were basically so popular that the main voice of Bugs Bunny basically did the whole entire cast. Mel Blanc, may God rest his soul, died in like the 1980s or something. And with that, there was 2 Space Jam movies, one with Michael Jordan and the other with LeBron. Why else would they do this? It's a very popular old cartoon. Oh, and don't even get me started on their powers. Like I said, old cartoon physics, nobody can beat them. Unless they're a cartoon physics user themselves. Anyone you could think of, whether it be anime or any strong person like the Avengers, no. They don't stand a chance to old cartoons. Sorry to break it to you. And no, they do not beat Goku in case anyone asks. Or Saitama. Or Thanos, or literally anyone. The best thing they could do is probably just get into a draw. Going back on Tom and Jerry, I grew up watching it with my grandfather, my great grandfather, I should say, and it was some of the funniest stuff I could remember. Like there was one time where Tom literally like died, and then he couldn't get back to heaven because he ran out of time trying to chase the mouse, Jerry. But going back to Popeye yet again. Sorry, I just love him. I grew up with him the most, basically. Even though I don't like spinach that much, I still eat it on occasion. I'm just surprised how we can eat so many cans of spinach. If you tried them, you know they're bitter. Oh, now if you watch Family Guy, there's like one or two clips where they reference Popeye. Like Cleveland Brown ate a can of spinach, and the theme song of Popeye played. And another, which is kind of like a non-reference kind of thing. Peter Griffin also ate a can of spinach, but that's it. That's the closest thing I could think of for a reference. Again, but going back to SpongeBob yet again. The older seasons are the best. 1 through 3 are the golden years. Then the movie. Then 4 through 5, I should say, are okay at best. Then 6 through 7, and 6 through 7 are tolerable in my opinion at best. And then the rest until midway through season 9, that's the last I would ever watch. The animation nowadays is just awful. And they made 2 more movies. Oh, and fun fact. Steven Hillenburg, the creator of SpongeBob, did not want any spin-offs of SpongeBob. And what did Nickelodeon do? They made 2 spin-offs. Patrick Star Show, Camp Coral. Which in my opinion is trash. Tom and Jerry also had other spin-offs, but like remasters of the spin-offs. But nothing, nothing, I think, beats the old 1950s ones. I'm not all too familiar with Looney Tunes though, because I haven't watched much unless it was like it was on. I cared for more like Popeye and Tom and Jerry, like I keep saying. Oh, and also there was supposed to be a Popeye animated movie from Sony Pictures, but apparently they scrapped it for the Emoji Movie, which in my opinion is probably the worst decision anyone could make. Because who wouldn't want to see an animated Popeye in 2016? I would. Considering how the Emoji Movie was trash, who knows? Popeye might have been good. That movie would have had the same voice actor as SpongeBob, Tom Kenny. It's amazing how after all these years, he's been doing the same voice. Well, I wonder who's going to replace him after he retires, or if he, God forbid, passes anytime soon. Hopefully the show wins by then. Honestly, right now it's being milked for money. 3 movies should have been 1 movie, and in my opinion, it should have ended like 5 years ago. SpongeBob. I just put reruns on it at this point. But yeah, SpongeBob, Popeye, and Looney Tunes, and all that. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about this. Internet memes. SpongeBob has the most, I would say, of any cartoon. Oh yeah, like I said. Oh yeah, some of the feats of SpongeBob, as from what I hear, he once pulled the universe apart by just a string. A string. Yes, a string. How does that make sense? Only God knows. It's a cartoon. Even physics can't describe that. Now, of course, all of them can be defeated, but of course, they have special forces on them, which means they could regenerate anything. Broken limbs, like vaporization. Let's say they died. They would obviously come back to life in some way because they allow it. Oh, don't even get me started on how Popeye gets his spinach. Sometimes he just waves his hand in the air. He like talks to the audience himself. How's it going, everyone? And yeah, he talks to the audience himself sometimes. At one point, he even punched his own animator. How do I know this? There was a show on YouTube called Death Battle. Saitama versus Popeye. My all-time favorite one. Because you know why. Popeye's the best. But think about that. One Punch Man versus a guy who can't be killed. Yeah, they are way too overpowered for their own good. Like I said, it's in Monkey D. Luffy and Rubber Hose animation. Probably one of the biggest impacts of cartoons on modern day. Because you've seen how much, because even if you haven't watched anime, you probably heard of One Piece or seen One Piece around. It's basically a kid with a straw hat, black hair, and a scar under his eye. And basically his powers are all rubber. Like he could pull his arm back and he could stretch his body and basically immune from bullets, essentially. And to think that was impacted by cartoons and stuff, that's just crazy. It's amazing how cartoons can move from one continent to the other, and the impact it has on each other. Even some cartoons nowadays, I would imagine, are inspired by old ones. Fairly Odd Parents are a good one. Dexter's Laboratory. I'm more of a Nickelodeon guy, so sorry, all Cartoon Network fans. Yeah, Regular Show. That was the best Cartoon Network show in my opinion. It was anything but regular, if you know. But yeah, the old shows and SpongeBob for modern example is very, and I mean very, impactful on modern life. Even if we don't see it every day, we sometimes think about it, and the references we see every day, who knows, it might have inspired people to do the same. SpongeBob is a fry cook for crying out loud. Who actually thinks that he inspired people to be a fry cook themselves? No, I wouldn't be a fry cook though. Remember, eat your spinach. And with that, you know what? Let's talk about SpongeBob a bit more. All the other cartoons. Yeah, I love growing up on cartoons. The best Popeye, in my opinion, 1960 version. I have a few DVDs of that. And just recently, I had the theme song stuck in my head of Popeye. God, I wish I could relive that, seeing it for the first time. I want to thank my dad for even showing me that. And if you want to be a fry cook like SpongeBob inspired you, go all for it. I'm just saying, it's a bit odd, but you do you. And if you want to be something noble like a sailorman, like Popeye, or if you just want to eat healthier like him, I'm all for that. Good on you. And with that, I think that's good. I'll see you around.